Hi, my name is Kevin McPeak, and I'm here continuing the Leadership and Technology series. And what I'm here to talk to you about is the entire concept of recruiting technical staff for your project or your technical program. And it's a very exciting time when you're a hiring manager, when you've been given permission from your upper management to increase the staff that you have on your project or your program team, whether it's a short-term project that you're working on or whether it's a continuous program where you have technology deployed throughout and you have things that are under operations and maintenance, O&M. In either scenario, you need to make sure you recruit the right people that you need for your specific activities. So the first thing you need to do is to determine, within the scope of your budget and management requirements, the number of personnel that you're allowed to bring on board, and then you have to make the determinations of what technical skills and abilities that you're looking for in the potential candidates, and the amount of experience that they should have, and then any other special requirements that are needed. For example, are there blended skill sets that are needed, things that may typically go together, for example, let's say server administration with database administration, or if you have some other more technology, esoteric or vendor-specific skills that you're looking for, specific experiences. If you're working within the federal workspace, are there requirements for security clearances or polygraphs, things of that nature. In the commercial side, if there's specific requirements for the candidates, a willingness, let's say, to travel or working any special shifts. So these are the kind of things you want to determine up front so that when your HR department or your technical recruiters are out there looking for the right candidates for you, whether they're internal to your company or whether they're external hires that will be brought in, you want to make sure you identify all these needs up front rather than sort of try to identify candidates and then see if they're a good fit. You want to define what a good fit is so that you can then bring in those right candidates. And I always consider the recruiting process as 3 steps. So the first one we've talked about, which is identifying what it is that you're looking for in the candidate positions. And then the next step after you've received resumes is to set up phone screens, technical phone screens specifically. So what this means is, even though you've provided specifics to your HR department or your technical recruiter, you still have to validate with the resumes that you get back that they do in fact map to and accurately match what you're trying to fill. Because there might be a misunderstanding. You may have a specific requirement, and then when you review the resume, you realize that it's actually not quite being met, or perhaps you didn't word the requirement correctly. In which case you need to fine-tune the effort before you go to the effort of actually phone screening a candidate, because you want to be respectful and courteous to anybody you speak to on the phone. Make sure that they are a good fit before you even get them on the phone. So once you've set up a phone screen, ideally there would be 2 individuals from your organization, the project manager, program manager person, as well as a technical SME brought in on the call, a SME being a subject matter expert, and the candidate. So in this situation for the phone screen, you could give the candidate a dial-in number with a password and a certain time and day to call, and you could confirm with them that they'll be on the call at that time and give them expectation of how long you think the call will last. And basically when they dial in, it's the responsibility of the lead on the program to explain the project or program, explain why it's important, sort of show some enthusiasm for what you're working on, and that's your opportunity to sort of do a little bit of sales to make sure that the technical candidate can learn more about the project and hopefully become excited with the idea of coming and working for your team. So beyond that, the program manager should then turn the call over to the technical subject matter expert, and it should be explained up front that the subject matter expert is going to ask a series of technical questions, and the purpose of that is to validate the expertise of the specific candidate. And there are scenarios where a candidate might have specific technical certifications, and that's fantastic. I am a supporter of certification programs. However, you should also recognize that sometimes individuals are very good test takers. Sometimes people have excellent study skills, and they may attend, let's say, a boot camp. They may supplement that with a lot of heavy-duty reading, and then they go take the certification exam, pass the exam, but they may not actually have the right types of experience doing the work, or they may even have the skills and the ability and the experience upon completion of a certification program to do the job you're looking for, but then they might work in a field that takes them off task. And a lot of technical skills, as I'm sure you know, are perishable. So again, it's important to conduct these phone screens to make sure that the candidate's skill sets are current. So even if they have a current certification, you want to make sure that they can think on their feet and answer the questions. So what you want to have your technical SME do is ask increasingly difficult questions that are within the specific scope of that job description, but through escalation to sort of determine at what point does the candidate start to get uncomfortable with answering the questions without having the ability to conduct further research. And that's okay. That's actually a desired outcome of the phone screen process, to hit that wall, and then simply at that point the program manager should join in on the call and say to the candidate, well, if you're unable to answer the question, and if this question did come up, this technical question did come up in the workspace, how would you go about researching it? How would you resolve it? So for example, if it's a Windows admin and they said they would reference TechNet articles, or that they have specific blogs or certain websites that they go to for further information, or even if they have professional colleagues that are highly knowledgeable, they would ask the question. All of those are acceptable answers. It just shows that the candidate has a rational thought process to, if they do get stumped, to work through it, to overcome it, to look at their options, basically to do solid problem determination and resolution, and are able to leverage different resources. At that point, you want to give a situation-based, hypothetical, situation-based ethical question where you ask the candidate a scenario where they're performing a technical duty and something goes wrong, and it's something that they did, and perhaps they didn't set up a proper rollback procedures and they're unable to restore the device or the configuration to previous settings, and you want to ask them what their thoughts are, what would they do at that point. And hopefully the candidate would have enough ethical savvy to recognize that the answer, is to basically to confess it and be honest about it and say, hey, I messed up. Here's the point where things went bad for me, and I've documented it to this point so that the project team together can work on it and resolve the issue. What you don't want to have is somebody who basically would say, hey, I would walk away from the problem and sort of deny that I did it. So you want somebody who takes ownership for both their success and their mistakes. At that point, you thank the candidate for their time, thank them for the call. You let them know that the next step is they should be hearing something from HR or from the technical recruiter. You thank them once again and you end the call. And then the project lead as well as the technical SME should have a candid discussion about the candidate. Hopefully both of you have taken copious notes during the interview, especially if you're interviewing multiple people, phone screening multiple people. Sometimes things what gets said can run together. So you want to make sure you have good detailed notes of who said what types of answers they provide, what types of skills and abilities they have, what sort of motivations they have, what they're looking for in a position. And if you're still on the phone, make sure the candidate is off the call at that point, because you don't want to be talking about the candidate when they're still on the line. So what you do at that point is discuss it and make a decision together whether you want to bring that candidate in for a formal in-person interview. And if that's the case, you schedule it, you bring them in. You want to make sure that they're punctual. You want to make sure that they dress professionally and appropriately for what is your work environment, and conduct the in-person interview. Again, it would be a battery of questions. And this time you would make sure you listen to their concerns, you answer any questions that they have, because you want it to be a good fit for a position. A technical position is bi-directional. You want to make sure that they're equally happy with the position as well. My thinking is if somebody makes it to the in-person interview, ideally you should already be leaning towards bringing them in on the project. The phone screen is really where you want to sort of eliminate candidates that aren't a good fit for this. But as I always say, it's a mission first, people always, and I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you.